First of all, I'm very happy that you have organized this webinar, because I totally agree with Lucia that COVID has happened to be as accelerator for a change. And now we need to look for new opportunities, new approaches, but also new sources for funding. So in my next slide, I would like to start my presentation with a preamble of Estonian Constitution. Yes, we do need to guarantee the preservation of people, language, and culture through the ages. But let's think about the meaning of preservation. Is it just keeping something as it is? Or is it safeguarding the continuation by using the opportunities, by adapting to changed conditions? So next slide, please. In Estonia, we have number of sources and number of measures and number of institutions supporting cultural creative sector, starting from the Ministry of Culture, with the government institutions and so on, and also cultural and creative sector has access to funding in different business development and regional development measures. And last but not least, we also utilize the EU funds quite intensively. So next slide, please. With all our activities, we must address our strategic goals or our national strategies. So if we are looking at the future, we are talking about implementing the new National Development Strategy, Estonia 2035. And if we think about cultural creative sector, it is a part of a society, not only part of economy. It's not only a question of culture. So therefore, we are addressing many goals on the level of our national strategy. Also, we put the development of cultural and creative sectors into our R&D and entrepreneurship development plan. So we consider it to be a smart economy, innovative sector, and also contributing and providing additional added value to rest of the economy and other sectors. Next slide, please. We do have certain focus areas when we look at the future and when we are designing the future of cultural and creative sector. So first of all, we must improve the entrepreneurial and management capacity in cultural creative sector. And this, in fact, involves also ability to use different financial instruments to use private capital and so on. Then we want to foster innovation in cultural and creative sector, but also promote international cooperation and export. Because for a small country, it is vital to keep in mind the international scope and also design the activities in international level. And last but not least, there is a need to collaborate with other sectors and other businesses and other organizations. Next slide, please. In order to take a quick look at the past, this is the past. Let's keep it in mind that we do monitor the development of the sector throughout the years. There is always a meaning behind the numbers, but today we must admit that this is the past and we must look at the future, considering what have we learned from the past, what kind of strengths we have, where are the opportunities, and what is something we should leave it there and not focus on keeping or preserving it. So next slide, please. And also taking a last glance to the past. At European level, certain challenges and opportunities have been highlighted. Let's look at them and rethink what is important today in the new situation, in the new world, and where are our focus areas. Next slide, please. If we are talking about using new opportunities, using new financing mechanisms, we must understand the complexity and variety of the value chain in cultural creative sector. There is no unique approach that we can use. Are we talking about the audiovisual sector? Are we talking about performing arts or design? Each of them have their unique value chain. So therefore, it is important to learn how those subsectors function. Where are their revenues generated? Where are the most potential growing companies, and so on. So therefore, I think I really recommend that the in-depth value chain analysis must be carried out constantly. And next slide, please. Another important issue is related to business models. This is the place where actually COVID has been like an accelerator or incentive to look at your business model. And once again, if we are talking about loans and guarantee mechanisms, we must focus on revenue streams. Where are they? What is the nature of the revenue streams? Next slide, please. So therefore, we know the culture will survive. We know that art is there, it's inevitable. So we know that art reproduces itself and cultivates culture. And let's keep that in mind also when we look at the cultural creative sector from business and economic perspective. So thank you. And I'm really anxious to hear and discuss with you the opportunities and ideas for using the new instrument. Thank you.
Many thanks, and I can only echo what you mentioned on the need to take a sort of in-depth approach, a value chain approach for each subsectors, because each subsector of the cultural and creative sector has its own, let's say, way of functioning, and that's certainly something we usually do as well when trying to analyze those sectors. So I can only echo what you said, and thank you very much as well for the presentation.